Welcome back, everybody, to the Arizona Cardinals Madden 19 rebuild franchise. What trade did I make? Oh yeah, traded Frank McFadden to the Pittsburgh Steelers to end last episode, as we have gone through another offseason to make it to 2034. And obviously, as I've talked about lately, the series is about to wrap up. But I will be going through this season pretty normally. Today, we're going to sim all the way through into the postseason and see if anybody can end the Cardinals' run of dominance. We've already won 5 straight Super Bowls, which is simply absurd. Aaron Howell's been here for 6 titles in the series, all 6. So he must have one of the higher legacy scores here on the team. But I am prepared to hand this off to a long-term simulation and see what happens, as I know that we're not going to be able to do things normally to get to the end of like Ahmad Burns' career, for instance. And I did read a lot of your feedback on last episode, and I'll tell you how I'll do the long-term sim. I won't be actually simulating like 10 years at one time, and I'm not sure how many seasons I'll even go through. But I'll just be basically putting everything on autopilot or whatever. Let the CPU handle the roster, as Curry Jasper is here with superstar development. Not too bad. But I will be simulating a year at a time, and I'll show you the stats for the team at the end of the year, and the record, and any retirements with some career stats. So it'll be a modified 10-year sim, I assume. But let's begin going through the 2034 season. The 17th season of Cardinals franchise football begins with a win over the LA Rams. Dylan Herring 2 touchdowns and sacked 6 times. Justin Olivia, what happened here? A fake field goal interception. Unger threw 1 touchdown. And Duran Samuda with a very big game. Starts the season off with 139 yards and now ties an NFL record for the longest play from scrimmage, 99 yards. Montre Lennon scored twice. Bradley Young scored 1 time. And defensively, who got the sacks? How many for Jasper? 2. And then Burns, back from injury. Pearson Walters, AJ White, and Howard Risen. In Game 2, we defeat Tampa Bay 31-10. Good start for the Cardinals with 2 touchdowns from J.W. Unger. And on the ground, Samuda gets another rushing touchdown, 1 for Rashawn Briggs as well. And then in the air, Kitchens is able to find the end zone, so does Brian Gutierrez. The pass production not very overwhelming here in the early games. I guess we didn't really need it much. So who will need to be re-signed for this year? This might be my last offseason upcoming. I'm not sure how many more of these I should do, but this one looks pretty important with Bradley Young and Jarvis Salisbury here, both in their late 20s. Gotta make some big decisions. Oh wow, this is actually a really impactful group of free agents to be. Joey Spencer, Rashawn Morton, 2 lower overall starters, but I like keeping this team together. It'll be tough this year. We do suffer our first loss in week 3, 24-20. Do we get any passing production this time? We did get more. Nice game for Chandler Conrad despite being sacked 6 times. Unger does throw 2 touchdowns in the game. Samuda just 68 yards on the ground. Zach Perez, the rookie, gets 45. Wow, Griffin Glass, 102 on 11 catches. And we had a score somewhere here. 2 for Joey Spencer, 90 yards. Very efficient. I like it. And on the ground, we get a lot of pass rush production again and fall to 2-1. So we fall into 2-2 heading into an early bye week, 31-28, with 4 touchdowns from Tanner Merritt. The secondary is having a little bit of issue here early in the year. 3 scores for J-Dub. He was picked off twice. Running game, again, a little underwhelming in this matchup. And no major standouts in the receiving game. We spread the ball around quite a bit, as does the other team. And for the defense, still getting that rush from Salisbury, Curry Jasper as well. And we throw 2 picks. So far, our defense is performing pretty average despite an elite level pass rush. Hopefully that can pick it up soon when we go back on a winning streak. One thing that will help will be upgrading rookie safety Jaron Biddle. Now, the scheme fit is run support, but I really want to get his cover skills up, so we'll probably not get him to being a scheme fit, but we'll get his all-around game a bit better. At least he has that quick dev. Oh, this is perfect. Now they finally give me a class like this. Almost every middle linebacker is either pass coverage or field general, and I really have to come away with one in the next draft. We're out of the bye week and back in the win column. We do not fall below 500. 2 scores in this one for J.W. Unger, Dwight Witzel, 3 touchdowns. We still get a lot of pass rush, 5 sacks in this game for us. Bradley Young gets over 100, and I've got to figure out if I'm going to be re-signing him or what my plan is going to be. 3 sacks for Salisbury. Of course, I want to keep him. These elite defensive linemen are really tough for me to let go. Yes, we got a deal done. I gave the fair offer to Jarvis Salisbury. 5 years, $70 million. He's only 28 years old. He will be regressing soon, but I'm counting on this elite production to mostly hold up through the duration of his contract. He's not a very easy player to replace, and he's been a pretty core part of this defense. So Salisbury is staying here. Here's what he's done throughout his career, by the way. Very heavy sack production. 5.5 is his career low, and he has 3 straight years now of double digits, and he's on pace for another one this year. We're also going to make the big deal to keep Bradley Young here. We will have the cap space, and still have space for more moves to make later on. And I want to keep our best players here. Even if they're going to be regressing, I think that because they're so high rated, they'll be just fine. Bradley Young, 96 speed, 96 catching. He still has a lot of years left to produce. And we'll probably let somebody like Joey Spencer go. We'll have to see what the situation looks like at the end of the year. Bryson Anthony loses to the Cardinals again, 21-13. 3 scores in this one for Unger, who again doesn't have to throw it a lot in this game. Just 171 yards on 23 attempts. We ran it 17 times with Samuda. It just looks like we're not running that many plays. We had 80 for our defense, so it's probably pretty heavy in their direction for time of possession. In the air, 100-yard receivers. The Seahawks had both and still didn't even score 2 touchdowns. Ahmad Burns continues to get sacks. A.J. White, Jasper as well. Burns also collected an interception and 11 tackles. How does he do it? If I have to find a replacement offensive lineman, how about George Cleveland here in the 4th round? B pass block power, B pass block, B minus pass block finesse. That's a really good prospect, regardless of projection too, and this is low. 17-3. We're not doing it with much flashy offense this year. We're not getting big numbers at all, but the defense is just playing outstanding. Unger's only throwing like 25 passes a game. We're not doing anything that impressive on the offensive side, and it's probably because we simply do not have to with this defense being as good as they are. There's the offense showing us they are capable of these high-scoring matchups still. 400-plus yards in this game. 4 scores for Unger, 1 for Justin Olivia. 3 touchdowns for Hunter Hogue in this high-scoring game. 7 sacks for the Cardinal defense. LaMarcus Rock, 130 and 2 touchdowns. 7 sacks and 3 went to Jasper, 2 went to White. And the interception, Rashawn Baker. That victory right there takes us to the halfway point. We are 6-2. It's still a pretty close battle here in the NFC West, but we do still lead it. We did lose our last game. I just want to check on this injury first. And we have lost Duran Samuda to a broken thumb. But we lost to the Denver Broncos and Kashim Verdon, 37-31. So now we lose a high-scoring matchup. The first time we've really done that this season. Or I guess 31-28 is pretty high-scoring as well. But the Broncos get the better of us in overtime. And Nate Luck throws 4 touchdowns, a lot of yards. We still seem to be giving up a lot of pass production, even though we do have a good pass rush and everything. The run defense even struggled today against Javon Gross. In the air, touchdowns for Young and Kitchens, but a huge day receiving for Travis Alexander. And he had 181 with 2 scores, with 2 also going to Kashim Verdon. So kind of a strange year. The defense dominant oftentimes, and other games are just getting gashed in the passing game. I thought I did a pretty good job of addressing our secondary, but we're definitely no better than average there right now. We're able to bounce back though against an 8-1 Kansas City offense, and they only scored 10 points, were held to just over 200 yards. Who knows who this defense is this year? They've been somewhat inconsistent, but they have us in position to again make it to the postseason. And here's 53 yards for Benji Ward. Still no Duran Samuda, so the run game is struggling. Joey Spencer has a nice day though. And on defense, what'd Jasper do this time? Another one. Before we meet again in the NFC Championship game, the Bears will hand us a loss here in the regular season, 35-28. Again, we struggled down the stretch and lost the fourth quarter. Carter Milanovic had 3 touchdowns. Unger had 3 touchdowns as well. No interceptions in this game. Not much running either from these offenses. Julius Hodges and Joey Spencer, though, they led the way for both offenses with over 150 and 3 touchdowns. Really impressive days for those two in a very high-scoring game. We've now lost a couple like this recently. So that brings us to a 7-4 record. We're tied with San Francisco right now. The Rams are better. Nothing is for sure in the division this year, and we have the option to bring back Duran Samuda early. And in doing so, there would be an injury risk there, but we'd have his strength down just a little bit and awareness. I actually think this is a situation where I'd like to play Samuda, especially given the opponent we have here with the 7-4 Saints. So there you go. I finally actually wanted to do one of those. There's a big win in overtime for Arizona, and moving on to 8-4 on the year. Charles Brenner, a touchdown plus a pick, 3 scores for Unger. Samuda is back and gave us 73 yards on the ground. Receiving, Young and Kitchens are able to find the end zone. It's amazing how some of these teams have stayed the same over the course of the series, seeing like Cedric Chamberlain and Devon Del Greco for so long. But one thing about this series I want to make different for next year's is it's a little too easy to keep your best players, and I've got to figure out what I can do maybe on the XP slider front to make it tougher to keep all those great players forever. Our 3rd victory in a row keeps us a game up on the Rams for the division. Good decisive win here over San Francisco. 1 touchdown for J-Dub. Samuda ran for 90 and a score. Joey Spencer, he continues to have an impactful season. I wonder if these are career highs he's setting in a contract year. It keeps seeming like he has these big breakout performances, so I can't wait to check the stats at the end of this. I don't normally check them until the very end just to see all the standouts in a surprising way. But just a few games to go now, and we close the way we opened against the Rams, and it could be for the division. Well, we didn't lose. 20-20. When's the last time we tied in this series? Have we ever tied in this series? No touchdowns for J-Dub. I'm guessing he had a long streak of touchdown passes in the game, but it's now snapped. Over 170 for Bradley Young. 2 100-yard receivers here for the Chargers, including Langford Troop, their tight end. What do we get from Joey Spencer? Just 13. And then Marquise Morse has a pretty good day. A lot of tackles, gets a sack as well. Jasper just gets a sack every week. Guys, I'm telling you, you're not going to believe this. We tied again! Back-to-back weeks! How does that even happen? 4 scores for Anthony, 2 for Unger. How do we tie in consecutive weeks? $141 for Joey Spencer. Over 100 for Young. Come on, guys. We're keeping it close for the Rams. I'll have to see if they even have a chance to top us, though. These ties are obviously half wins, win percentage-wise. And now we close against the Rams. But I think we both have 9 wins. So this is literally a division title game here. If we lose, our streak of dominance in the division is over. And already, I'm thinking we're going to play on Wild Card Weekend. Should the playoffs even be there for us? Thanks for playing, Los Angeles. 38-7 for the division title, and we've got it. We're going to the second round with another first round bye. 3 scores in this one for J-Dub, 2 scores for Duran Samuda. Big day for Bradley Young. It does seem like Brian Gutierrez is having a really quiet season. I'll have to check the stats and see how it all finished out, but I don't recall any games where he was like the leader receiving. Curry Jasper, 3 sacks. He's got to be close to the 20. Pretty fun year for the Cardinals as they get a 10-4-2 record. There's a new one we haven't seen before in the series. 2 injuries, though. All right. 2 of them. And it's Howard Iwabima and Rashawn Morton. So that's a big injury for Iwabima. And replacing Morton is something we're probably prepared to do, but still downgrading here at 2 positions ahead of the playoffs. Not very good. The NFL MVP goes to Russell Parks this season of the Chargers. Didn't he win it like last year or sometime recently? Matt Nagy, Coach of the Year. Wow, he's been there from day 1 of the series. I don't know if any other coach can say that. Oh, Griffin Murphy, I guess. He starts out as the Patriots coach. All right, let's go to the awards for us then. J-Dub narrowly misses out on Offensive Player of the Season. And Defensive Player of the Year is Ahmad Burns. Future Hall of Famer Ahmad Burns, that is. Zach Perez, Rookie of the Year. I almost traded up for him. Keon Hopkins wins it for the defense, 86 overall. Carson West. Come on. 72 overall. He won it. The Eagles had a great defensive draft, though. They had 3 players who could have won Rookie of the Year potentially. So Brenner is best quarterback. Darrell Collins is best halfback. And receiver Julius Hodges of the 13-3 Chicago Bears. Again, we are the 1 and 2 seeds. I don't know how it's still... No one can defeat us. Curry Jasper, best defensive lineman. Ahmad Burns, best linebacker. Very nice, everybody. And now that we're at this stage, I'd like to see the team stats. Number 1 offense after all is said and done. And the number 13 defense. J.W. Unger had a 35 touchdown, 9 interception season. Business as usual for the vet. And is it really his 10th season? 10 years of J.W. Unger in this series. Wow, I didn't even realize it. Duran Samuda does get 1,000 yards and 9 touchdowns on the year. In the air, Spencer and Young led the way. So Brian Gutierrez did have a moderately productive season, nothing too impressive, but Joey Spencer did have the breakout campaign, and now he's unlocked star development. How do I let him go? I don't believe I can. If possible, I'd like to keep him and everybody else, but if I had to trade Gutierrez to make room for Spencer, I think I would have to make the move. Kitchens was also solid. He's been extremely efficient. 7 years ago, we drafted him. Wasn't sure what his best role would be, but we moved him to tight end, and that was something I wouldn't have done without your suggestions in the comments. And now Kitchens has become the tight end of the series, essentially. Rashawn Briggs had a catch for a touchdown. Not much receiving production here for the backs outside of Briggs. And then sacks allowed. 8 for Morton. This looks pretty good. And then on defense. 4 interceptions, 8 sacks for Burns, 118 tackles. He's already a 99. How can he get better? And then for sacks, Jasper, 19.5. Way up there. Superstar at 24 years old and an unstoppable force off the edge. Oh, by the way, 2 more players had double digits. An inside linebacker nearly had double digits. And Howard Iwabima, I know he got hurt at the end, but this was not a very productive season for him like we're used to. How many snaps did he play? If you go to general, it'll show downs played. And yeah, he played a little bit less, but the sack rate is obviously the lowest of his career, I'd have to say. Here are the league leaders for this season. Russell Parks and Tyler Borland were the only 40 touchdown passers this year. Let's go to the running game. Trey Richard, another good year for him. Darrell Collins is developing nicely for the Rams at 94 overall now. Marion DuBose, not regressing very much, even at age 31, although he did lose a development trait this season. Travis Hart, Dawson Kelly, Trey Walker. There are your top rushers from this year. Number 1 pick, Jordan Kirkendall, by the way, had a solid year, it appears. Over 1,000 yards. Under 4 yards a carry, though. In the air, 2 100 reception tight ends. And for yards, Bradley Young led the league. Okay, I don't think we've ever had someone lead the league in receiving yards. And then 12 touchdowns and some players with 11. So they're still missing players here when you sort for sacks, and Curry Jasper has more than Douglas Walton, but maybe there's somebody else that's missing from this list, but it looks like Jasper may have led the league in sacks. Alright, we'll check out career stats after the season is complete, but let's get into the postseason now. Our first game is against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'll have the chance to end our run. Just like that. It's over. The Arizona Cardinals have been defeated by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, their first playoff loss in over half a decade, and they did it. Finally, somebody beat us, 24-21. J.W. Unger did get intercepted once. Looks like he had a solid day. Hanson, Backus, no turnovers, 70% complete, 277 in the air. Douglas Gordon, 75 yards rushing. Briggs, 53. Playing a ton here. I'm not sure what happened. Maybe Samuda got hurt again. Joey Spencer did everything he could, 136 and 2. Orleans Bruton even got a touchdown. Not sure why all these backups are getting all this playtime. But after 5 years of winning the Super Bowl, somebody could finally defeat us in the postseason, and our year is over, and there will be a new champion this year. Here's the Pro Bowl roster, by the way, a game where our players would actually be able to partake this time. Rashawn Briggs made it, that's cool. Bradley Young. Now, in next year's game on Madden 20, you can play the Pro Bowls, so maybe when I do my rebuild franchise, we'll watch a Pro Bowl or two. Not sure. You'll have to let me know what you want to see. But I am thinking about starting up a new series soon. There's a lot of improvements on the gameplay front, and I posted a CPU game already that was very entertaining. So I'm confident that the rebuild franchise this year will be a lot of fun, and I do want to get that started soon. So one thing I'm thinking right now is maybe next off-season, next episode will be my last. And then we can get into a long-term sim right after the off-season. What do you guys think of that? Here are the career stats, though. J.W. Unger, 358 touchdown passes now in 10 seasons of play. He's a 99 overall. He's a special player. On the ground, Jason Lemon really didn't get much playing time this year, sadly. Maybe none. And he has just under 10,000 rushing yards. He would need 307 to get there. Duran Samuda, 4,400 yards. Bradley Young, 8,000 receiving yards now, 57 touchdowns. Joey Spencer, picking up that production here in year number 4. On the defense, over 1,000 tackles for Aaron Howell, who has 33 interceptions in his career. And for sacks, Jarvis Salisbury, 82.5, 76 for Howard Iwabima, already 43 for Curry Jasper. There's a lot of players I'd like to see how their production goes if we do a long-term sim. I want to just check on the career leaders now, and then we'll sim the Super Bowl. Deshaun Watson, 72,000 yards, 558 touchdowns. Mike Phillips is closing in on 500 as well. Wow, a lot of these players have been here for most of the journey. It's fun. I really enjoy the league and how it develops over the course of all these seasons. Marion DuBose, almost 13,000 yards, 93 touchdowns. Jarek Payne, 1,100 receptions, 123 touchdowns. He was available in the offseason, ended up going to the rivals in Detroit. Walker Onobun, almost 1,000 yards or 1,000 catches in his career. Fisher, 900. This really makes me want to get deep into a traditional franchise one day. I really hope that I can find a franchise where I'm playing all the games and I enjoy it enough to get, really far in it. I'm not sure if I could do as far as this, but I want to go further than I have before in a series, a traditional franchise series. Man, Aaron Howell, still not the all-time or the active leader in interceptions. By the way, Deshaun Watson now has the most touchdown passes out of anybody to play the game of football. In the NFL anyway. There might be somebody in the Arena League who threw like 80 touchdowns for 100 seasons or whatever. 10 seasons, more realistically. And the Super Bowl champions are the Cincinnati Bengals. So who got a ring this year, everybody? That would be Walker Onobun. He got some here with the Cardinals, and now he'll get another one. Maybe his career is over now, but they win 31-17 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Raymond Garcia, 3 touchdowns. Trey Richard, 84 and a score. And Onobun, 42 yards. Not a big day for him, but a big day for the Bengals, who get their championship. Might be their first of the series. And then just a look at retirements here. Devin Brasseel has retired. Jason Lemon retires after 12 seasons. What a run for Lemon. But I do think that next episode will be my last off season, and then we'll do a long simulation episode afterwards. But that would mean that next episode is all about setting the team up for the future without me at the helm. So that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Bittersweet as our run comes to an end, but it had to eventually. We already set a record winning 5 rings in a row. But that is going to do it for this episode. If there's anything you want to see before this series is over, let me know. But I appreciate your support along this journey, and we'll be wrapping up shortly to move on to something brand new. Please leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and have a great day, everybody.